you lock yourself out of something, or there's always that risk, and it's just like, oh my goodness.
It also brings me back to, one of the earlier tech field days we did with you guys, when we first brought the SD-WAN product to market, and this ties into the thin branch concept, but, in the early days, people asked us about routing protocols, OSPF and BGP, and we said, no, why would you want to do that? That's anti-SD-WAN. That's the old way of thinking. That's complex, blah, blah, blah. As time rolled on and we went through 2.5 years and, this close to 700 customer deployments, the thing we realized, and this is kind of the slap your forehead moment, is someone's rolling out 500 sites. They're not going to just flick the switch and turn on 500 sites of Silver Peak overnight. As much trust as they may have in us, that would be a silly thing to do with any technology. So what they're going to do is pick 10 or 20 or 30, turn those onto the SD-WAN, and then, have a rollout plan like Nuffield had when they did whatever there was, close to 30 a week. Now, during that interim, what's going to happen? You've got 50 sites on the Silver Peak SD-WAN. You've got 450 on the legacy routing infrastructure. How are they going to talk together? Well, the only way they can talk together is with traditional routing protocols like BGP and OSPF. So, we learned from our customers. We learned from the deployments that they were doing. And we said, yeah, that's something we need to add to our solution. So we've added both of those.
Yeah, and exactly that transition makes every network engineer that wants to maintain some control and have a backup plan feel warm and fuzzy, because they can announce routes from the new, and if the new isn't working so good for whatever reason, they can swap back to the old and the way things were, and it's fairly painless. And then when they figure out what's happened, they can switch back again. So yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, got to have a transition plan, and like you said, you've got to also be able to have a way to back out should things not go so well.
So Damon, in thin branch and consolidation, one of the things that you get if you don't go thin branch, you keep every box unique, is you get a lot of functionality. Like if you keep a full router there, you maybe have multicast functionality. And if you consolidate into, just enough, maybe you give up some features, and multicast pops into my head as one of those things that might go away. What is Silver Peak's stance on multicast these days?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. So our stance has changed. So, we'll go back a couple of tech field days and people asked about multicast, and we said, well, why would you want to do multicast? You've got the internet. You've got, 100 times more bandwidth than you had in the past. By the way, the internet doesn't have multicast. It doesn't make any sense. Join us in our new nirvana world of SD-WAN and you don't need it. Well, again, learning from our customer deployments, here's what happens. A large multinational will buy into SD-WAN and everything we've talked about, and they love the solution, and they're the networking guys and they think it's great, but there's someone over there in the large multinational company that's responsible for an application like the CEO video broadcast or the stock ticker that goes across the bottom of the screen that leverages multicast. That person doesn't want to bet their job on the SD-WAN. That's life. We cannot force the applications to necessarily upgrade to our new world. So, again, back to our, listening to the customers, listening to the deployments, that's something that we've decided to add to the solution. It's not in our GA release yet, something we're targeting for the middle of this calendar year, but we are going to be implementing a traditional multicast type capability for, again, music on hold, CEO video broadcast type applications that are still very real and may not have moved to a cloud hosted type world yet.
Okay, so you say traditional, so that sounds to me like you would integrate with PIM, protocol independent multicast routing, and you support joins and all that good stuff.
The whole alphabet soup, sparse mode PIM, IGMP on the LAN, the whole thing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, if you really, really have to, but before you do, fight like hell not to do that.
That's right. That's how I feel too. Oh boy.
That's what we did, and we took our lumps, and we came out saying, hey, it's something we ought to do. We got to make everyone's transition as smooth as we can make it.
I know. I just wanted to say, but please don't do that. I understand you think you might want it, and maybe one day you think you might, but I promise you that unless you really, really need it, don't do it. Just walk away.
Well, Damon Ennis from Silver Peak, thank you for joining us on the show today. Now, you guys have a load of places that people can find you. You've got your website, silver-peak.com. You've got a YouTube channel, and there's a blog, and you're on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook and so on. Anything else that you want to point people to, or a specific resource that you wanted to mention?
I think that's it. I think you covered all of those. We can be reached via all those channels, and like you said, there's a bunch of videos up there, and now there's some great podcasts too.
Oh, that's great. Okay. And Damon, are you social where you want people to follow you, or maybe you blog special and want to talk all about how awesome you are?
I put most of my stuff on LinkedIn right now, so that's the place to find me. Just send me a connection, and yeah, you'll see a few posts up there.
Well, that brings us to the conclusion of another Packet Pushers Weekly show. Our thanks to Silver Peak for talking through SD-WAN use cases and the security implications with us. And if you ring them up, would you let them know that you heard about them here on Packet Pushers? Because without our sponsors, we can't do what we do. And hey, you can find this in our entire network of deeply technical podcasts, analytical writing, and IT news for engineers, along with our community blog at packetpushers.net. You can follow us on Twitter at packetpushers. We are also on workplace-friendly LinkedIn. And one favor you could do for us, take a moment to rate us on Apple Podcasts. Last but not least, remember that too much networking would never be enough.